Hello guys! After a pretty tough work week, I finally got to my mini trip. It was just 3 days, but it helped me relax and forget about work for a while. Maybe it's weird, but I don't find my mobile project tiring, so while traveling, which took quite a bit of time, I was thinking about how to implement the backend and what interesting features to add to the existing functionality. But don't think that's all I did on vacation. I took lots of walks, saw beautiful nature, swam, relaxed by the water. I even saw an amphitheater. Besides my project, I was also thinking about whether I like my current lifestyle, my daily routine. The problem is that for the past 6 months I've been going to bed really late. As a result, I'm worn out in the morning and barely have the energy to start my day. And I decided to change this. The first thing I do in my morning now is running. I find I can run much more in the morning than in the day or especially in the evening, and it really helps me mentally. Also, I want to show you my new purchase, a maca pot. I got tired of making coffee in a French press, so I decided to choose a more professional approach. As you can tell, my vacation is over, and today is my first work day. Another important thing, I've made a rule to work standing up in the morning. So the first thing I do is check my emails and also Slack. I saw a message from the product owner with questions about the new payment system, specifically about its capabilities regarding invoicing. Instead of writing a lot of text, I decided to draw a diagram of how this functionality will work. I think it will be more understandable if I draw the whole process step by step. Besides, during development, such diagrams usually help developers a lot. Next, my front-end colleague wrote to me about a task related to our site's analytics. I have experience with similar functionality, so I gladly explained how to do this task as quickly as possible and what pitfalls might come along the way. After this, I immediately had a daily meeting with our team where we discussed current tasks, their status, and new tasks we will be doing next week. No sooner had one meeting ended than another began, with the tech lead and product manager. Here we looked at the flowchart I had previously drawn. In the process, we also discussed the details of the invoice payment functionality. We immediately made an estimate of this task to understand its complexity and the length of its implementation. After some discussion, we decided to cut out a part of the planned functionality and move it to the next version. We plan to move gradually to ensure the development of the project proceeds without any hitches. Throughout the day, I feed my favorite pets and also walk them. However, due to the intense heat, they are not very active and mostly sleep and drink water. By the way, it's time for me to drink some water and take a break. I didn't have a strong desire to cook anything, so I made myself a light salad with greens, tomatoes, cheese, avocado and beans. I have quite a tight schedule today, so I need to fit into an hour. The first half of the break is for a TV series and lunch, and the second for reading. By the way, check out my Monstera, it's grown huge. I'm still reading Code Complete because I do it very slowly and reread it, as not every part comes easily at first. As I mentioned earlier, besides backend, I'm currently doing business analysis for a new project, so I spend most of the day working on flowcharts and user stories. Besides this, I spent a lot of time studying the documentation of the technologies that we will use during the development of the project. Right now, I'm studying the Stripe payment system documentation in detail because we will use it for all payment operations. My task is to find out how exactly we will send receipts after a successful payment, and also whether it's possible to customize invoices when creating a payment. Being a developer, reading documentation is a bit easier as you can not only learn theoretical information but also test the API immediately. I found a code example in which payment is created with a custom invoice inside, added my data to it and made a request to the API which created a test payment. Next, I followed the link to this payment, used the Stripe test card to simulate a payment operation. After that, I opened the Stripe dashboard, found my payment there and saw the generated invoice in PDF format. This is exactly what I needed. In Slack, I detailed to the product owner what exactly Stripe allows with invoices and receipts, and also attached a PDF file as an example. Finally, my favorite part of the day, when I can code. I have a task to add a new field to the database and display it in the admin panel, so that the admin has the opportunity to change the value of this field. Depending on the value, the system will filter the result of the database query and generate content on separate project pages. Probably I've been resting too much because I decided to run the project locally straight away, without Docker, and couldn't understand for a long time why nothing was working. I even reinstalled all the project libraries, but only then I remembered that I always worked through Docker and the problem was quickly resolved. I made several commits to our staging server so that QA could test this functionality. Honestly speaking, after I started performing the duties of a business analyst, I started to miss programming a lot, and I'm really happy when I have time to work on backend tasks. Well, that's all the work for today. After a little rest and dinner, I have one important task left. If you remember, a few videos ago I started a course on React Native to get a better understanding of how this technology works, as my own app is written in React Native. As part of this course, I'm developing a food delivery app. What's interesting is that the author presents the material in such a way that each next step creates a new problem to solve. In addition, he talks about various patterns that help in development and anti-patterns that usually slow it down. At this stage, my learning app already has a screen with a list of restaurants and search functionality. However, all the data shown on the screen and after search are mock data stored in my own code. But my code has such a structure that if necessary, the services currently working with mock data can be replaced with real API calls. Today's task is to build a screen for a specific restaurant, but first I need to make significant changes to the current navigation system. I've added a stack navigator to the existing restaurant list navigation path, which will lead inside the specific restaurant screen. Everything was going quite fast because I've already implemented similar functionality on my own on React Native and Vue.js, so this approach wasn't new to me. The only thing that bothered me was that after adding a parameter for displaying components on iOS recommended by the author, my restaurant component wasn't displayed in full screen, but I think it's because we have different versions of this library, or React Native. Then I made a bug and implemented the wrong nesting of components, which is why I couldn't understand why the author's new components were displayed and mine were not. But I figured it out quite quickly and eventually made a separate restaurant screen. Of course, it's not yet refactored, but I'll get back to that later. The next task will be to make a restaurant map so that the user can see how far the place is from them. I'll be doing this tomorrow evening. Thank you friends for watching this video, I wish you a great day and see you soon!